Epic Gaming Night is made possible by the support of patrons like you. Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night podcast, a podcast about the stories and relationships board games create. I'm your host, Roy Candy, and with me as always is Rob!
Hey.
And Matt's room is with us today. Super excited to have you, Matt's empty computer chair. How's it going? Crickets. That's where I had the cricket sound effect in.
Went to go get a beverage.
Went to go get the beverage to make the podcast happen. But yeah, super excited about the show. We're just going to have like a chill show, talk about some news, take some
I have not looked
Q&As.
over any of the stuff.
Hey, cool. It'll just be fresh for all of us. So
Damn.
It's nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. Maybe a little bit crazy. But hey, Matt is back!
What's up? Yeah.
I said this week we were just having your computer chair on the show.
Sweet.
Because we've missed it. We've also missed Matt.
Yeah.
Matt's been gone for like a few weeks. Them computer problems, man.
Yeah. But it's okay. It's done now, mostly.
Hype.
I need to install 3 more fans and another SSD.
Oh, you better get those fans installed real quick.
No, I mean, I have other fans that are currently running. These are just new fans.
We don't want computers catching on fire anymore.
Nah, I need a Y adapter for it. I don't have them.
Awesome. Well, there has been some news. Before we get into the Q&As, there has been some news that has come out. It seems like Fantasy Flight Games just continues to talk about new things that are coming out at Gen Con before the show starts. This first game that I want to talk about that they announced, I think was like the third big one that we were all shocked about, but Sid Meier's Civilization: A New Dawn.
That looks so good.
It looks really good, and I think the playtime is like 1 to 2 hours, so it's not like a really long game. It looks really awesome. I never got a chance to play the other version of Civilization that they had, but I actually heard good things about it. But I'm definitely interested to see what they've done with it, because Civilization's a great computer IP, and it's just cool to be able to have that sort of like Civ building game where you actually have a board that you're building a Civ on. There's so many of these Civ games where it's just like, okay, I have some cards and some resources, and I turn these cards and resources into imaginary buildings. But this looks like you actually get to like build it out on the board and progress troops and do all sorts of crazy stuff. Did you read over much of the stuff on this one, Rob?
Sorry. What game? Sorry, I'm
Civilization.
doing some. I played the first one. I really enjoyed the first one.
Gotcha. Yeah, I never got a chance to play it.
And I owned it for a while. I just never got it back to the table. But it was a lot of fun. And so I'm excited for the updated version, especially with new powers and things like that. I have not had a chance to look it over. My life has been crazy.
Oh, man, yeah.
And so, yeah. Sorry, I have not had a chance. I've looked at the pictures, but I've not read like in detail or anything like that.
Gotcha. Matt, you're a big fan of like the Civilization video games and stuff, right?
Yep.
Did you have a chance to check this out at all, or see what it looks like at least?
I'm looking over it now, and I don't know. It seems
it's hexes and cards and things and
very
stuff.
like it seems very similar to the actual video game and the way the tech tree works. But how does the map work? Is it modular, or is it the same map every time?
No,
I think it
was
modular.
Well, in the last one, the way that what is my volume doing? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you sound great over here.
Okay, sweet. So in the last one, it was a Fog of War system where it was modular, but everyone put down pieces face down. You didn't know what you were putting down, and so it's not the same every time type of a thing. Even though I think you make the same rectangular shape, or at least you do for the amount of players that you're playing with.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was all fog of war, upside down,
exploration a little bit as you expand
Okay,
your civilization. Yeah, I'm definitely super interested in that. It'd be cool. I'd like to get a demo in of that. That'd be awesome.
Also, side note, I got a question to ask you, Roy, but I'll ask you later.
Okay, awesome. This next one is another game that I'm pretty excited about. This is a brand new game from Jerry Hawthorne of Mice and Mystics fame. This is a new game from Plaid Hat Games, Stuffed Fables. This is they call it a storyboard game, but it looks like you're playing on like a storybook itself as you play the game, and you're all little stuffed animal heroes. Whether it's a teddy bear or an elephant or like all sorts of different crazy stuff. And it's got like little miniatures in it too. So looks pretty exciting. What did you think of this game, Rob?
First of all, I love the theme behind it. Basically, from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, you are teddy bears or you're stuffed animals that absolutely love your child. You love your master, per se. And there is a guy, I think he's called Mr. Nightmare, and he is trying to give the child nightmares, and you are going out trying to stop the nightmares from coming in. The theme is absolutely fantastic. I think it's super cool. It's like I didn't know what Jerry was going to do for another more or less children's game, and this totally blows it out of the park for me. Like I was super excited once I saw this earlier today. The minis look fantastic. The board art looks really good. I think I would actually play this one. I had the Mice and Mystics, never got it to the table.
Yeah.
And still a great game. A lot of people really love that game. But man, freaking this game with the bears and the stuffed animals, I absolutely love it. Love it.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to get like a more story driven game to play with Scotty, you know, because he's really enjoys like playing some of these other crazy games. I've talked about on the podcast how I've played Mansions of Madness with him before, and he really enjoyed it. So this might be a little bit more kid appropriate game to play with my son. So should be pretty awesome, and I'm definitely excited to see what all Jerry's put into it. I just like the fact that you're like playing on a storybook itself, you know.
Yes, I love it.
So awesome. Well, this next one had me flipping out. Okay, so I'm gonna tell a story. So the night I was working the night before, and when I was on break or whatever, I got a message from a guy that he sent me a picture of a thing. He said, I was looking at Fantasy Flight's website and this weird thing popped up. And he sent me this like hazy, foggy picture of a thing that had like Twilight Imperium looking thing. It said Twilight Imperium 4th edition. And I was like, what? Is this real? Could this be real? I was like looking at the art real hard. Like I like made the contrast go up like after I was done with work, like to like see the picture better and everything like that. And he sent it to me and Sam Healy because he knows that Twilight Imperium is one of like my favorite games. And I found out later he had like posted on Reddit and several other places as well. Well, he posted on Board Game Geek, and then other people posted on Reddit like his posts. But I was like, oh, this is really weird. But like one person saw this thing. Like I don't know if it's the real thing. So the next morning,
and then you sent it to us.
Yeah, and Rob was flipping out. Rob was like, oh my goodness, is this gonna be real?
You were like, hey,
is this gonna happen?
Don't know what's going on, but just got this random weird message. And then you were like, I went through all the rule book, and it's not
the rule books.
It's not
to try to find the
they
art.
Already have.
Because I was like,
this could be real. This could be real.
And so the next morning, like I didn't like it was late at night when I was like texting all this stuff out. I didn't want to like text Sam. The next morning, I immediately texted Sam. I was like, "Hey man, what about these Twilight Imperium 4 rumors?" He's like, "Man, I don't know if I'm gonna believe it until I'm like holding it in my arms." And I'm like, "I don't know, man. I've never seen that picture before. Do you think somebody would like fake a picture?" He's like, "Never put it past the fans of a game to try to pull something over like this." I'm like, okay man. And literally an hour later they announced Twilight Imperium 4, and I was like, oh my goodness, flipping out and like trying to post things all over the place and let everybody know.
Yeah.
And I messaged Sam and I was like, you believe it now, man? You believe it now? So But yeah, I was pretty hyped. So they announced Twilight Imperium 4th Edition. If people don't know what Twilight Imperium is, it's basically it's like my favorite game. It's pretty heavy game. Like it takes anywhere from like 5 to 8 hours to play.
Isn't it your number 2?
No, it's my number.
War of the Ring was number 2. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Twilight Imperium is still my favorite game of all time. Twilight Imperium 3. I don't know. We'll see how 4th edition fares out. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. I looked over all the different stuff, and another cool, interesting thing is that Shut Up and Sit Down is doing a documentary for the whole, like, them creating Twilight Imperium and doing the new edition, all that stuff, and I'm super interested to watch that. They're not going to release that until their convention or whatever. They're going to have a screening of it. It better go up online or I'm going to be depressed. But
it'll end up online.
But yeah, it definitely looks like a new edition of the game. It's pretty pricey, though. I think the last edition, was it like MSRP for like 100 and you could easily get it for like 80 or something like that? Something around that?
No, the MSRP, it was more than 100, wasn't it?
No, I mean on the 3rd edition was like 100. The new edition is $150 MSRP, but you can pre-order it from Fantasy Flight Games or pre-order it from your game store. And when you do that, you get a bound version of the rulebook. And a couple of
posters.
Yeah, a couple of prints for the game, for some of the artwork. I think it's like the art.
Are you going to pre-order it?
We'll see. We'll see what happens at Gen Con, and we'll see how much pennies I can save up. I sent it to my wife, and I was immediately like, "Oh my gosh, Twilight Imperium 4th Edition!" She knows Twilight Imperium is my favorite game because I always talk about it, and we always make jokes of like, "Oh yeah, let's play Twilight Imperium," because Twilight Imperium is not a game you just like.
Was she like, "Oh my gosh, the telephone bill"?
Well, she was like, "Oh, that's awesome." And she was hinting around like, hey, like, I mean, maybe this could be a thing. And she's like, how much is the game? And I said, I don't really want to tell you. And she's like, how much is it? And I was like, $150, but you get like all this cool stuff and a brown book and stuff. But we'll have to budget and see what can happen. But yeah, she was like, holy smokes. But we're still in negotiations, but we'll see. But Twilight Imperium
still in negotiations.
Yeah. Hey, it's life. We
Are you guys negotiating right now to be allies, or is this like a hostile negotiation?
Well, hopefully they don't talk to you guys, because you guys would just publicly execute me if we were having negotiations.
We would publicly execute you.
But Twilight Imperium is definitely one of my favorite games at all time, and I actually had a few requests to talk about the differences in between 3rd edition and 4th edition. So I want to like go ahead and talk about a few things because people were interested in that. So I played 3rd edition a decent amount of times because I know I've played it with Rob. Have we played it 3 times? 2 times? We played it 2 times.
Is it fair to say though, playing the game 5 times is a decent amount because that's like
I think it depends on the game.
That's 40 hours of gaming.
Yeah, I've played it over 5 times at least.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, usually when you say a decent amount for a game, I'm thinking like 10 plus, right? 10 to 20. Yeah. But like on a game like that is like 3 to 5 a decent amount.
I mean, you're talking about days of time I've spent playing Twilight Imperium. Not like a little bit of time. Days. It's definitely nothing compared to Matt's Dota counter, like time counter. But I've spent some time playing Twilight Imperium 3. Not by choice, though. It might be as closer.
Speaking of which, my boys took home the championship this year. Solid job, Lakewood. Way to go. Anyway.
You got to join that professional team, man.
I know. The prize pool.
Professional team for what?
$24.6 million was the finisher this year. So the winning team took home a little over $10 million.
Video games always put board games in their place.
Trevor's trying to say that only the last time mattered, but that's because Trevor won. Does not matter.
Y'all just let Trevor win. It's fine.
We just didn't want you to win.
I was so close. Like, even after y'all, like, neutered me or, like, wrecked me in that game, I was still so close. Like, it was still pretty close. Anyway, so the differences in between Twilight Imperium 4, there's a bunch of new strategy cards, and it's kind of interesting because the strategy cards that they're using look very similar to the strategy cards like I pick for our game. Like, there's a little bit of subtle differences, but like the last game we played, the strategy cards that are coming out in 4th edition, like the mixture, because I had a mixture of stuff from all the expansions and from 1st edition. Like I took like the Warfare card from 1st edition, and then took the Imperium card from 2nd edition, and took like the political card from the 3rd expansion. So I mixed it all up. But the strategy cards that they're actually picking to use for the game look very close to the ones like I pick. They're slightly different, but like I can see like, hey, this is the sort of thing I would like make happen and do. One of the main things about the strategy card is in the regular core box, there was a strategy card that when you chose that strategy card and used it, you would immediately get 2 points. And it was just straight up, you just get 2 points. That's no longer the strategy card. The strategy card I would normally use was Imperium 2 or one of the other ones like that, or Imperial 2, something like that. And it would allow you to take multiple objectives in the same turn and just gain 1 point if you own Mechatol Rex. So you could still get points off this card, but you have to control Mechatol Rex. So that card helps you go after Mechatol Rex a little bit more. This one just allows you to do 1 extra objective, and if you do the secondary on it, which means you're not the person that chose it, you can get an additional secret objective. So now in the regular game, you would only have 1 secret objective the whole game. Now you can accumulate up to 3 secret objectives as the game goes along and complete all of those. So it's another way to make the game go a little bit faster, because there's going to be more points in the pot because you're going to have several secret objectives. And you can get more than those 3 secret objectives, but then you have to discard one of your other 3. So it seems pretty awesome as far as that goes. Then the trade stuff. Trading is very different. So in the regular game, you had these trade cards that you could trade back and forth, and you'd like make a deal with someone like, okay, me and Matt, we're going to be in trade negotiations. If Matt agrees and I agree, we can trade it if I chose the trade card. And then every single time the trade card activates, we're both going to get goods off of that. Now, every race has commodities. And commodities are basically sort of like your trade contract things, but it works completely different. You can only trade them with people that you have a system adjacent to. And they also, while you have them, for you, they do you no good whatsoever. And then if someone takes, at any time, if you're adjacent to people, you can trade these commodities to other people, and the token flips over, and they now have a trade good that they can spend as resources on anything they want. So it's really good for your opponents. You just give them away whenever to help entice them to do something for you, or just to be like, hey man, I'll trade you a trade good, you trade me a trade good, we're good to go. So that way we both get resources, because I can't do anything with mine and you can't do anything with yours, so let's trade them. And then if somebody takes the trade strategy card, then you get to refresh all of your commodities that you would normally have, and then you have a lot more leverage for trading again. And it's very interesting because you can kind of trade these things away whenever to people that are close by you. So it seems really cool, like, because it actually makes the trade goods and trading feel like actual trading, and you can use them instead of just being like, okay, we're kind of in a semi-alliance because we have trade goods, and if we attack each other, we're not going to be able to do that anymore. Now it's like, hey man, I need you to do this thing for me. Here's some commodities, so that way you'll have trade goods and you can spend them on whatever you want, but hopefully you're going to help me out with this other thing. So it seems pretty cool. That the technology tree has been simplified. And now there used to be like prerequisites on all the cards. Now you just have to have specific types of, there's 4 different types of technologies. You have to have like, maybe if you want to have like a War Sun, I don't remember how many it is, but maybe you have to have like 2 of the yellow technologies and like 2 of the war technologies, the red technologies, to be able to upgrade to the War Sun or whatever, instead of having to be like this specific card, then this specific card, then this specific card. You just have to have any of those types of resources. And it's a lot of the same with a lot of the other technologies. As you're going up the tech tree, it'll be like, okay, we have this technology, you need another green technology to be able to, like another biotechnology to be able to get this higher biotechnology card. So you can kind of, it branches a whole lot more than it did before with the very specific prerequisites. And it'll also help not have to dig through the deck as much. The playtime on this one is supposed to be 3 to 8 hours. Holy smokes, that is a big gap. Yeah. I don't know how you're going to get it down to that low, you know? And I mean, maybe you could if you have a group that like knows what they're doing. And I think if you pick specific things and do things a specific way, then you could probably make it happen. Politics now happens every single end of the round. So there used to be a political card you had to pick, and if you actually picked a political card, then the political phase would go off. Now politics will happen at the end of every single round. So before, sometimes the politics card wasn't necessarily good because you didn't know exactly what laws were going to come up and if you'd even be able to really win those laws. Now it will happen every single round. And so you kind of need to save some of your planets to be able to bid on these political agendas that are going to come up at the end of the round. And then on top of all that, a whole lot of the stuff from the expansions is added into the base game here. Normally, the base game came with, I think, 10 races. Now the base game comes with all 17 races that were in the like full Twilight Imperium 3 with all the expansions. So you have 17 races right off the bat. And you've already got like the flagships in there, which were an expansion thing. You've already got the race-specific technologies, which are an expansion thing. You've already got like some of the different models, like the like powered ground units and stuff like that. Just a bunch of different hodgepodge of different things from the expansion are thrown in to this Twilight Imperium 4th edition. All sorts of stuff all over the place. You now have the promissory notes. You can like make these specific agreements, and you can give people a promissory note to help them like decide to do the agreement for you. And if you trade a promissory note for their agreement, they have to follow through with it, but it will give them like a bonus when you give them that agreement. That's a thing from one of the expansions that I've never really used very much, but that's a thing that's now in the base game and is always supposed to be played with it. So yeah, lots of interesting stuff. Basically,
I hope that's just like a bunch of post-it notes that you can write out like actual contracts on, and then people can then try to find loopholes in your poorly worded contract and be like, well, actually.
It's actually kind of interesting because the way they
work... You would
be
surprised how often that happens in business.
There's specific ones for each like player color, but then each race has their own specific like promissory note thing you can give out that's specific to your race. But there'll be things like, hey, next time you gain commodities, next time, or you can give someone a note that says, hey, next time I gain commodities, you immediately get all those commodities. So next time somebody takes a trade thing and like makes it so you get the trade, they would automatically get all those trade goods. But whatever agreement you made for you to give them that paper, they have to follow through on it, you know. And there's all sorts of different things like that that can do all sorts of different crazy stuff to help out whoever you get give those things to. And maybe they just never happen. Maybe you just never gain commodities for the rest of the game, and then they just end up never getting anything from their promissory note. It doesn't really change the promissory note. It just does whatever it is. The only thing that I'm really gonna, or one of the main things I'm really gonna miss from the 3rd edition is the artifacts. They're just like artifacts that were around the board that you could put out that made certain locations like worth a point if you landed on that planet, which could easily be house ruled. Like anything, you could take 3rd edition and make it into 4th edition. It wouldn't be that hard to do, but I'm sure there's tons of tweaks and like different things like that are in the game that are going to be hard to see without actually seeing the whole game itself. But what did you guys think about this?
I'll let Matt go first because I'm actually working on something.
I mean, I'm pretty interested, but it is Twilight Imperium. It's one of those games you only play once or twice a year, so you know it's definitely. Man, I don't know. Based off what you said, I'm still very excited for it. I'm not sure if I'd pre-order it. Because as you can see behind me, I'm just growing towers of games right now because there's a secondary one off camera that's equally in height that you can't see.
I was talking to Rob about this. Like, I'm planning on, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to have it soon or when it'll actually happen, but Twilight Imperium is my favorite game, so 4th edition is going to happen eventually. So Rob was like, oh, should I get the game? Should I like pre-order it? Should I make it happen? I'm like, well, if I get it, we can just play it. You know, so it's like
Yeah,
are you guys gonna play Twilight Imperium? Like, you guys are gonna secretly play Twilight Imperium 4 behind my back. I see how it is.
No, man, totally. That's my whole goal. Play this huge game that I really don't know all the rules to, and not bring the guy who knows all the rules. You got me.
I was actually surprised. Like, I was reading, because they released the rule book, and I was reading through the rule book, and I'm just like, yeah, I understand all of this. Like, I'm just like skimming through it. I'm like, okay, yeah, they changed that, got this, got that. I just know Twilight Imperium like way too well, I think. So, but I'm really excited about it. I really like the graphic updates to it and stuff like that. I mean, it is not like a mind-blowing thing in this whole like 3rd edition to 4th edition. Like, I've seen editions of games like change a lot. Like, 1st edition Mansions of Madness to 2nd edition Mansions of Madness was huge. Like, not just from the app. Like, there were like major mechanical changes, like the way that combat worked, the way that skill checks worked. There was a lot of different things that changed. Runebound 2nd edition to Runebound 3rd edition was huge changes, where you went and you're throwing discs instead of rolling the dice, and all sorts of just different things to check, different encounters and stuff like that was very different. Twilight Imperium 4 from Twilight Imperium 3, I mean, it's pretty logical. Like, I mean, they cleaned it up, like made some things a little bit more streamlined, and the learn to play didn't look like it was that hard. Going through different stuff. I'm sure anybody that picks up the game it's going to be a little bit to get through, though, because it's not a small game.
Bro.
But yeah. And I just talked about Twilight Imperium 4 for a very long time. So, but I'm super excited about it. If you can't tell, I'm super hyped about it. I'm definitely going to like try to get pictures or close-ups of it and stuff at Gen Con. And dude, if they had a copy at Gen Con, I'd be like, what kidney do I need to sell to make this happen? Like,
let's talk about the real big game that matters, and that's A Song of Ice and Fire.
Are we going to talk about this every week, Rob?
Not every week, but the Kickstarter just ended, like literally 2 hours ago or a couple of hours ago.
So there's no reason to talk about it now, because nobody can even get it now, right?
No, because you can late pledge it. And I mean, the late pledge doesn't matter. We actually ended up unlocking all the stretch goals, but I think it's 165 minis that you end up getting with this game. So good. It looks so good. I am so pumped for this game. Super crazy excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. The game I've been playing recently is, hey, tell my wife that I just bought a game, but we're also having a child, so she doesn't get mad at me. She thinks about babies. That's the game that I've been playing recently. It looks awesome. So the first player token is like a 8-inch Game of Thrones throne. Mm-hmm. That's the first player token. I don't know if you saw it, but it's a huge throne. Huge throne. That's the first player token. I'm pretty pumped. Second reason why I'm so freaking pumped is because of the show. Are you caught up, Roy?
No.
Oh, you stupid.
I've been trying to figure out how to like get a hold of being able to actually watch it. Like, I was just like, how do I watch this thing?
Man, it is so good. It is so good. And this last week's episode was so amazing. Man, it was just a lot of stuff happened. It's going to
take me hours now to get through it. I need to like Rob, I'm coming over to your house and I'm just going to watch it.
I want to do a podcast just about TVs and movies, and I may end up doing that with my buddy Lee, but like, because him and I, we watch things when they come out, and I'm using his HBO subscription anyway to watch it. So good. I wish Matt watched the show. I wouldn't care about spoilers for the fans.
A Song of Ice and Plastic.
I would just do it. I would just talk about it. Wouldn't even care. I'm just being honest. I just let it out.
Well, I mean, a lot of times with those things, it's like people would know going into it what they're going
into. And I would be like, hey, y'all, we're not going to talk about anything. And then we end up talking about everything. So good. And anyway, the Song of Ice and Fire, what I really, really like is they're offering a lot to this game. And some of these player powers that they have coming out are freaking ridiculous. So, Roy, let me ask you about this, because you played the game before. Yeah. Okay. So here's one of the new players that they've released for the game. It is Jaime Lannister, right? However, this Jaime Lannister, it's the main hostage. It's when he's got his hand chopped off. Spoiler alert. Jaime gets his hand chopped off.
Typically,
even though that's like season 3 or season 2.
Old.
That it's kind of old. But freaking spoiler alert. So Jaime gets his hand chopped off, right? Listen to his power.
He nubs you to death.
You get to attach Jaime to a enemy unit of your choice. Now, his figure does not. It doesn't matter about the certain laws or rules about normal attachment. He gets to attach anyway, and it's a separate figure. He attaches to an enemy unit of your choice. Every single time you activate that unit, Roy, they take 1 damage, and every single time they're attacked, you lose 1 defense die.
That's pretty good.
And I think he only costs 3 points.
How are the characters in this? Like, there's
so many.
No, I mean, like, if you're using that Jaime Lannister, I'm guessing you're probably not allowed to use the other Jaime Lannister.
Probably, but they now have a version
the other
of
Jaime
the
Lannister was
on a
sick.
horse. They've got the mountain on a horse. This dude
I saw
just
that.
looks
it's awesome.
Ridiculous, man. There's just so many freaking units that come with this game. So much stuff that comes with this game. I am so excited. So excited. No, he does not nub you to death, Adam, even though that'd be kind of funny.
I was the one that said that. That's why he was why he was saying that.
No, that would be kind of funny though. Like maybe you got like
I like the other Jaime Lannister. The other Jaime Lannister's like, hey, if you do like win in combat, you can literally just kill off their leader of their group. So when I played, he just killed off Robb Stark, just like that. And I'm like, he's the Kingslayer. He don't play. So it's
is that
cool.
What his other power does?
That's the regular version of Jaime Lannister.
I haven't read all the powers.
He allows you to like snipe the hero out of the group, which can be very beneficial.
Bro, they have a whole mercenary division. The Boltons are a mercenary division. They got Brienne of Tarth. They got Sir Brendan Tully, Jaime Braun. They have Brandon Hodor and another direwolf, Hodor. So excited. They got Reek on here. They got Tully, Varys, Master. I mean, they got so many. I'm not going to read everybody. But anyway, it's going to be freaking awesome.
Calling Theon Reek gives me Stockholm Syndrome. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes. Yeah, it looks absolutely amazing. And what I'm really excited about this, the minis, and not just the minis, what did I say? The terrain. They actually came out with a additional buy where you can get terrain that's already.
How many pennies,
like
Rob? Did you go all in? Did you go all in?
I didn't go all in. I did not go all in.
Did you go every single miniature you could get? Tim's gonna be disappointed in you if you didn't go all in.
I know.
He's in the chat right now getting mad that you didn't go all the way in.
How about this? I went in over $300.
Holy crap! Dude, I'm excited to play. Yay! Let's play.
So like I didn't necessarily. I have every single unit with my order. I have every single unit that they offered. I don't have duplicates though.
Gotcha.
So, but I do have every single unit, and so I'm excited for that.
Now I can just never get into the game because Rob would be so far ahead of me.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, another thing I wanted to mention about Cool Mini or Not, I was listening to the Board Game Insider podcast, and they were talking about how IGN, or not IGN, something like that. Yes, they were talking about how, Cool Mini or Not's a publicly traded company now, so they're required to release their documents that show like the profit of the company and different things like that, and how much they make and stuff. Out of the millions, I think they did like, what was it, like $29 million or $25 million in sales or something like that.
25 million. That's not that much.
Well, maybe that's in their
maybe gross profit or something like that.
Their profit was only $1 million out of everything they did. they had like 5% profit of $1 million or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, that's after salaries. I mean, because if you are talking about a publicly traded company, that's after salaries. That's after all shipping. That's after everything. After they paid everybody, after they paid Eric, after they paid everybody else, they still made $1 million.
Right.
That's actually
they were on
the
podcast. They were making a big deal about it. They're like, oh man, they're not that profitable, this and that. And I'm just like, but like that's awesome. They're giving away like so many miniatures in these Kickstarters. I'm sure they're not just like raking in like tons and tons of dough on that. And they're like throwing these crazy convention parties where they're giving copies of the game away to everybody. I mean, I'm sure that's not profitable for them really in the long run. But I don't know. Cool Mini or Not just feels like a party company to me. I don't know why.
They did until Cool Mini or Not Expo. They did, and Cool Mini or Not Expo, I think, was a fantastic
they want your party,
way to show
but they only want you to have
up.
the Cool Mini or Not party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think something you guys haven't mentioned is that Kickstarter takes a not nominal fee out of everything that they do. Not only that, but they have to then process credit card transactions on top of that, which then costs.
Matt, why did you invent Kickstarter?
Well, I don't do good things.
Yes, you do. You do amazing things. Don't say that. You're an awesome guy.
Man, I don't know. But, like, I feel like, honestly, they could hire a bunch of web devs and then set up something that's like Kickstarter, but specifically for Cool Mini or Not games that sets up pre-orders, and then they could have everything automated, and then they just cut Kickstarter out completely. So then they don't have to pay Kickstarter. They'll still have to pay the credit card transaction stuffs. I know a lot of people on Kickstarter use PayPal, so they won't have to do the PayPal transactions either, because that might be where they're losing. I mean, it seems minuscule, but over the course of the fact that they're putting out, I mean, they put out, 3 Kickstarters in the past 3 months? Like, they're doing it pretty hard, so.
They might not have quite as many people back, but then they'll probably just still make as much money, if not more, on the money they save from all the fees.
I did receive a milestone on Kickstarter yesterday when I backed it on money spent on Kickstarter. I was like, I don't know if I'm happy about this.
You get that super backer badge?
I don't know. I didn't look at it. I actually quickly deleted it because I was like, don't tell me this. Like, I don't want to. Like,
Rob gets real mad because I get alerts whenever he backs something, and I was all like,
at least you don't see how much it is though.
Yeah. He's all like, I was all like, hey man, you backed a Song of Ice and Fire, awesome. And he's like, stay out my business. So I guess we'll get into what we've been playing. We can do this decently quick. I did want to talk about one game that we played that I know all 3 of us played because we played it at Mega Moose Con. I've played it several times before that, but this is the Wits and Wagers Vegas edition. So it is a version of Wits and Wagers where you can do several different new ways to bid. And the Kickstarter is actually going to be coming out like the 18th for this. But basically it's going to be like regular Wits and Wagers party, but it adds like this gigantic like Vegas playmat that you can play on. And you have several new bidding options. Like before, you would just bid, and the further off you were from the center would be slightly better odds. Now you can bid like on red or black, like high or low. So you have options to go 1 for 1 for that. One of the really exciting things is you can bid 10 to 1 before the bids are even revealed. If you think someone knows, like if the question's about, like say the question's about movies or something, and you think, oh man, Rob probably really knows this movie question. Maybe I should bid on Rob because Rob might have the right answer. So you put it down there, and you might be able to get a 10 to 1 odds on somebody else having the correct thing. But yeah, Wits and Wagers is a great like family party fun game, and this is going to be like a more deluxe, crazier version of it with the whole Vegas experience, and adds a few cool little fun things into it. I played it at Dice Tower Con. I played it with like the Board Game Blitz girls and Jake and Danielle from Draft Mechanic, and a lot of our other like podcaster and like media friends over there. And then I also played it in the Dice Tower game show. Like we played it live at the Dice Tower, and there's like a video of us playing that. You don't really get like a good feel of what the game is like during that, but we definitely had a blast playing it that way as well with tons of people, because I think like each team was like a table of people. Like the table of people was like 6 or 7 people each. So we're just arguing over what the numbers were and how much we should bid. And I don't think I did very good. Like I did okay for our team, but I was just like, bid more. Like I was always just like, put it all in. I was on Z Garcia's team and we won the game, but we got super lucky on bidding on ourselves on like the last round and getting a ton of points. Then we played with Matt and Hector were a team, and
Matt and Rob were a team.
Matt and Rob were a team.
Hector and Matt were a team. And Matt and Rob got second place, baby.
Gotcha. Yeah, and then we were slightly behind you as me and Danielle. And then we had our friend Jake from Draft Mechanic. He was doing all the he was being the dealer, basically sort of like a Vegas dealer, like reading all the cards for us and handing out all the chips and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. Wits and Wagers is a simple, great, fun family game. What'd you guys think of it?
Speaking of which, shout out to Jake. That man has the voice of like a game show host.
Nice.
It was his delivery was 10 out of 10. I was like, wow, I was super compelled.
Yeah, he was playing it up.
What's the next question? Man, this is incredibly interesting. Okay, yay. This is good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hadn't played Wits and Wagers before, so I was very unaware as to what was going on for the first round or two, and then it slowly became a little bit more apparent, and then became a very fun game, like a super solid party game that you can literally play with anybody.
Yeah, and you can play with as many people as you want, as long as you just split up into teams. And you don't really have to know, like it's a trivia game, but you don't have to know the answer really to win.
No.
Because not only are you just guessing numbers, it's always numbers, and you're just guessing numbers, but also if you think someone else's answer is way better than yours, you can just go for theirs instead and get way more money that way. So it's pretty fun, solid fun. So make sure to check out the Kickstarter for the Vegas edition is coming out the 18th. Make sure to check that out on Kickstarter from North Star Games. So, and I could actually like show you guys the mat for anybody who's watching the video, but they gave me this thing. It is gigantic. Wow, that's the regular side. This is the Vegas side. I don't think I can even put it all on screen. But it's pretty huge. And there's this part on the side where you can bid on like the different players, which is really cool. But hey, you guys were talking about the what is it, Champions of Midgard thing being a blanket? This could be a blanket.
Yes.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I was already a Wits and Wagers fan. You guys have heard me talk about it on the show and stuff like that before, but I was excited about this. It made it a lot of fun, and I like how it kind of kept everything in order.
Oh my goodness!
And I like the different things that it added on there, and I liked how it did. You can bet red or you can bet black and stuff like that. So it adds a couple more, but I think it's probably growing. Wits and Wagers is probably growing into one of my favorite party games of like 6 to 12.
Yeah.
For like a party game, numbers wise, super good. And even doing the teams, because we played with 14, and I love doing the whole teams aspect. It was a lot of fun. So
it's one of those games that's good to play with people who don't normally play games.
Yeah.
Awesome. Was there any other games that we've played recently that you guys want to talk about?
I'll let you go first, Matt. I'm texting
Matt's
the
been
client
gone
right now.
forever.
I haven't played anything other than build a computer, go to gun shows, build a computer. What else did I do? I felt like nothing. I feel like I've just sat around for literally 2 weeks.
But that pile of games behind you's gotten bigger. I don't think we can really see it.
It's been split up.
I wonder if I can move this.
There's also another stack over there that starts with terraforming Mars and goes all the way up to Century Spice Road.
You can kind of see it on the screen now. Matt has a giant pile of games behind him. So.
Yeah.
And he's got Ice Cool, and I really want to play Ice Cool. So.
I want to play Ice Cool.
Me and Rob went to do a demo at the table with Ice Cool. Me and Rob were like, yeah, let's do Ice Cool. And the guy just explained the game to us, and then we were just like, okay. And then we just kind of walked away, and we I felt like we were like,
want to teach us the game.
I know how to play the game. I just kind of wanted to like actually play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, guys, see you later. And we were just like, but Ice Cool. Nice.
So my family and I recently we've been playing. Well, my daughter and I. My wife is not playing, just because she is a full 9 weeks pregnant. We've been playing Dancing Eggs a lot recently, and she's absolutely loving that.
That's
and
awesome.
So Haba, now with my second daughter coming into play, Haba is definitely going to be taking up a lot more shelf life.
Yeah. Sure.
And I'm actually looking forward to getting, like, I know you have My First Orchard, don't you, Roy? And I've seen you post pictures of that with your family. I'm looking to get some of the younger ones, so like me and my daughter can teach my youngest. And so, but yeah, we've been playing kids games. But Dancing Eggs, for those that don't know, Dancing Eggs, in my opinion, is the child version of Happy Salmon. You get to be silly, you get to be goofy, you get to run around.
Table.
And it's a lot of fun. So if you have kids that are like, oh, I want to play Happy Salmon, man, get them Dancing Eggs. It's super cute, super simple. The components, like the eggs, are super hard and durable. You're not going to break it. You'll lose the rule book before you break anything else. But a lot of fun. I'd play it with you guys. We actually played it with Ambi and her husband at Dice Tower Con, and right after I bought it. And they were like, oh, yeah, we'll play. So anyway, Dancing Eggs, cool game.
Awesome. Well, I guess we should try to blitz out some of these questions, seeing that we're.
Oh, we haven't even gotten to that yet.
Yeah, we should try to make a little bit of this happen. We'll see how far we can get.
15 minutes to close, and we're just not getting to the Q&A portion.
I said, hey man, we got some news for this show because I want to talk about Twilight Imperium 4. I just renamed the whole episode just straight Twilight Imperium 4. Sorry you missed Ambi, but I talked about it for about half of the game of a Twilight Imperium 4 would take. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the first one here is from how do we say this name? Ferg131 or what?
So
what game has
0013.
Yeah. What game has been the biggest disappointment compared to the anticipation, having had played it? The biggest letdown. Why was it such a letdown? I already know you guys' answer to this. And I'm like, how is this? This is like the same answer for every person that's played this game.
Which game?
I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna say Seafall, but I think Rob might go with what was that Penguin game? Pingu Pingu? That came out at Gen Con like 2 years ago.
I didn't even play it. I didn't even play
He just saw it.
And it was such a letdown. Just I remember going to Yellow that year at Gen Con, and I was like, oh man, Pingo Pingo. And they were like, yeah, you need a CD player. And I was like, no! Like, as soon as they said that. I was like, no, that's like so dumb. I was like, well, do you have an app version? No, we're not doing that. And this is like when app games like XCOM had come out that year and stuff, so it wasn't like they couldn't have an app. No, we're not doing that. But why not?
They should just mention that you could download it or something. But
and I asked them about that, and they're like, sir, the best thing to do is to actually, if you want to do that, to download it on your computer and then upload it to your music device.
They don't even have it on their website.
I was like, man.
They didn't even take the time to just.
They didn't even take the time.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah, no, mine's default though.
No, mine is last Friday. But you go first.
Oh yeah. I forgot about last Friday.
So terrible.
I don't think Seafall did anything particularly bad. It's just it was hyped up a whole lot, and like we even had Rob Davio come on the show, and he was talking about all the mechanics and stuff, and how they interacted, and how they played, and I was just like, oh man, this sounds pretty good. And then he was like, it's got a book that's kind of like Tales of the Arabian Nights, but it's legacy.
Like, yes.
It's just like, oh yeah, and then you get to it, and the book's just like generic story about native islanders and fill in the blank of one of the 4 resource types. Woo! Did you want to kill them for it or trade them equally for it? It doesn't do anything. Like, if you kill them, and they're just like, oh, put one of your little things on the island, and it's harder to go there now. Oh, who cares? Okay, great. But if you trade with them, you don't lose any money. They just give it to you for free. Like, it feels like there's no consequence. There's no point in like virtually anything in the game.
And by the way, I'm past even caring if anybody cares about Seafall spoilers. Because if you get upset about Seafall spoilers, you should literally just go play something else, probably. That's a terrible thing to say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just was not that great. Like,
no, it was not.
It's hard for me to think of a game that like I was super stoked about and was my biggest disappointment, because I do such intensive research into the games that I get and buy. Like, I normally know what it is before I even like play it.
That's true, and you also very rarely like pre-order things.
Yeah, I don't like pre-order things. I don't really. If I kickstart something, it's like because I know what it is, and like for sure. Like, I don't know. I'm very frugal about that sort of stuff, so I'm not a buy on a whim sort of guy. So I don't know. But yeah, I'm sure there's probably. I mean, there's plenty of games that I played that I was like, well, that wasn't that great. But majority of the time, I'm like, I didn't know what this game was, and I didn't really have hype expectations going into it. You know. I was just kind of like, hopefully this isn't as terrible as it looks. Oh, yeah, it was.
Yeah, also last Friday.
Well, I think, though, like, one that hurt me the most, I would have to agree, is Seafall. I went to my very first Gen Con just hoping to see a demo of Seafall. I knew it wasn't going to be out. I just wanted to see a demo. And, man, that really wrecked me. That really wrecked me kind of hard after it came out. Like, I don't know. I felt like maybe a girlfriend had cheated on me or something like that. Like, I just went into a little depression. And I'm not even joking. Like, it really bothered me. I remember talking for, like, long time. Oh, this is going to be so great. Oh, it's going to be so awesome. And it wasn't. That really hurt. It's not a bad game. It's just a simple game that really offers a lot of nothing.
It was almost like you were talking on the phone to your girlfriend, and then some other guy kept calling in and disconnecting you. That sort of feel.
Well, it felt like I was talking to a girlfriend, and then she was like, "Sorry, Adam's on the other line. I got to let you go." And I was like, "Screw you, Adam Sparks."
That happens all the time, I'm sure. Adam's got that effect on people.
He does. But anyway, that and last Friday. Last Friday was just kind of like, bleh.
Awesome. Well, next question. Wisdom for Wizards ask how my Wiz War cube is coming. I had talked about like trying to make a 3D cube to play Wiz War on with magnets. So I got like magnetic whiteboards and like magnets and stuff like that. And then I was going to like print out stuff, and then like it just like didn't work the way I wanted it to. It didn't fit together and didn't look properly. I made like a tiny little one, but it was too small to play on. I get like super excited about these things and start working on stuff, and then the like drive just disappears. And that's the same way with me in game design. I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to make this game. I'm going to do this thing. And then I'm just like, oh, yeah, I'm bored of that now. And go on to something different.
That's terrible.
It is terrible.
You can't do that.
If you follow through, then amazing things could happen. But, you know.
Yes. Victory comes to those that continue.
Man. I think another thing was like, I'm going to have to buy more stuff to make this thing happen, and I don't have any money. So that was
and Ti4 just came out, and I need to spend more money on that.
Exactly. So yeah, maybe someday. Wiz War Cube is still a dream in the Wizards' thoughts. It's a magical thing that will hopefully happen someday.
Yeah.
I need the cube, but I also need like that thing where you get the magnets that like suspend in air, and then have the cube floating above the table. That'd be awesome.
What's the next question?
Autumn's Prime, which is my sister-in-law, asks which version of Monopoly is the best. I'm pretty sure this is a troll.
Monopoly Gamer. I haven't even played it. Don't want to play it, but just because it's not normal Monopoly, I'll say Monopoly Player.
I was just
waiting for Tim in chat to just all caps Monopoly Gamer.
I literally just put this question in here to see what Tim says in chat. I was just like, oh, cool. Let's put this question in here anyway.
Yeah.
I try not to play Monopoly, but hey, man, Tim, bring Monopoly Gamer to Gen Con. Maybe we can make it happen at the
So Johnny is on the table, is saying that he's playing Seafall right now, and he's actually on his 8th play, and him and his group are having a blast and loving every minute of it. Johnny, that is awesome. Fantastic.
I'm proud
Here's
of you, Johnny.
the issue that I had with it, Johnny. It was supposed to be so much more, and the book doesn't even compare at all to Tales of the Arabian Nights. And it was supposed to be so much more storytelling, and it's not. And if you played it that many times, Johnny, you know.
Doesn't it also have decent amount of runaway leader?
I mean, it's not a bad game. I'm glad he's enjoying it. I was expecting some like full freaking immersion, and I didn't. It's literally a pick-up delivering game when you break it down. So
yeah.
Anyway,
awesome. This next one's long. Does anybody want to read it?
I don't know, man. I opened it up for a second, and then all the words were sideways.
Oh yeah, man! This email, the format.
It didn't look like that when it was in my notepad or whatever.
It is the beard net.
Mike asks, board game gluttony. It's been an amazing decade for the board gaming hobby, with games being developed and solid on the market and sold on the market as fast as can be made, like Silicon Valley in the 90s. Have we become too critical of board games? I see posts on an hourly basis on Facebook of people crapping on almost every game that comes out. But rewind the clock 20 years and we would be happy for any new game to be released. Do we have too much of a good thing going right now? ? P.S. You guys rock. I had to read that part too. So do you think there's too many good games on there coming out? Do you think people are being overly critical of the games just because there's so many of them coming all the time?
I'll let you guys answer first because I have a long answer.
Gotcha. I mean, I think part of it could be that everybody has different tastes too. So like some people could literally think that games suck, but I mean sometimes people are making bad games as well. So it's kind of like hard to know which games people are making fun of, but I do feel like games have to be better because there are so many games. So if you want your game to get noticed or you want your game to actually get played and made to the table, you got to try to make something that's solid enough for other people to want to get to play it. But I don't think we have too much of a good thing going, and I'm excited that there's tons and tons of board games going on. And all these people talk about, the board gaming bubble's going to burst or whatever, and then like board gaming's going to be like terrible. I'm like, I can still play the games that I have. I don't think like everything's going to just fall apart. I don't know. I think we're good. I think there's a ton of awesome games coming on. What do you guys think?
I mean, I think the board game bubble does pose a risk. It's not going to burst, but what it's going to do is it's going to plateau and then it's going to stagnate, and then it's just going to be a slow death where it just kind of declines over time slowly. So it's not going to disappear overnight. I think there is a lot of stuff that's coming out right now, and I think a lot of people are being overly critical about things because there is strictly so much stuff that's going on. Like if you were to compare it to the video game market,
you can't buy everything.
People are very critical in that regard because of what you have coming out. And then instead of it just being, oh look, Nintendo's put out another game because they're one of 3 companies that can make games back in like the 80s or whatever, you end up with Tom in his basement has developed a game that uses actual cookies. What? It's going to be solid. $99 MSRP, and people are like, this is going to be great, and then they get it and it's just a box of Oreos and they're like, what? This is dumb. Like,
okay, real quick though, I would almost back that game.
Oh, come on, man.
Bro, like sometimes
what's the worst that could happen, you know? At least you get a box of cookies.
Old cookies.
They're really expensive cookies.
You have no idea what they're laced with or with anything, right? Like
they're going to be made in China.
They're laced with technology.
Russian roulette of cookies.
I mean, they're going to be made by Panda in China, and then they're going to take a couple of months to ship across the Pacific Ocean, and then hang out in the distribution warehouse in California for a couple of months, and then make it to your house. So they're going to be super stale, probably wet or molded, and then you could play. Man, I don't know. Yes, the stretch goal is a cup.
Yes, you saw that. Stretch goal is a cup of milk. Love it.
I don't know.
Nice. What do you think, Rob? You said you had a long answer.
So listen, all right, here's my problem. I think with the age that we're in right now, we are living in the age of information, and patience is out the window. People get ticked off and pissed off when their cell phones don't download the thing in under 10 seconds. I say all that to say this. I think people are being super critical about games and other things like that nowadays because they can cowardly hide behind a keyboard. And I guarantee you 95, if not 99.99% of those people would not react the same in front of the creator or in front of the publisher.
Right.
So many people just like to troll online, and they wait for a buddy to say something, or they say something, and they don't really know the details of what they're talking about. They don't know why they're complaining. They're just like, oh, the sky's blue today. This game is going to be dumb. And they don't know. Yeah. And there's so many negative people. And it's not just in games. It's just in life in general. So many people hide behind Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And yet in real life, if you were to have that conversation, well, that's not what I meant. You misinterpreted what I meant. Well, you put it in all caps, go F yourself. How am I supposed to interpret that any other way? And so I don't think it's something that needs to really be given a lot of credit, especially to the people that haven't even played the game. Yeah. Perfect example, Pandemic Legacy Season 1 was getting so much hate just because people didn't play. Just because people didn't want to see Twilight Struggle come down. And they probably didn't even play Twilight Struggle, or at least play Twilight Struggle recently. They're just thinking they're so used to they're so used to not change, right? Not having change, and Twilight Struggle's been up there forever. And so, no, I'm going to vote a 0. Having not even played the game, yet you're going to be coward enough to throw in your vote for something that is so minuscule. It's so stupid, but at the end of the day, especially for these smaller companies, you were talking about the livelihood of people. You were talking about families. You were talking about children. You were talking about a lot of time and money and all this other stuff invested. And you're going to be a douchebag online and just troll something for whatever reason. I think you need to shut your mouth. I think people just need to calm down and keep their opinions to themselves. Say it to my face. Say it to their face. But I don't take any credit whatsoever. Like all these stupid people, for example, Ashes. Ashes is a Plaid Hat game. Love Ashes. And they're talking about on the Plaid Hat website about some of the rules for the Gen Con tournament. Yeah. And all these people are crying about the alternate art cards that are coming out for Ashes for the people going to Gen Con. Well, I'm in Ireland. Why can't I get it? Well, I'm going to be in so-and-so. I can't get it.
Alternate art? Who cares?
Then that's it. It does not affect the game at all. It does not affect the gameplay. You're still going to suck with your bad deck anyway. It's literally just different art. It's not. They're not getting an advantage in any gameplay or anything like that whatsoever. But so many comments. I think the time that I saw, it was like 21 comments at the time. Over half of the comments were negative about people crying about not being able to get it. Well, then shut up. You can't go to the show? Shut up. Get over yourself. I hate it when people just want to sit there and argue and complain about something that they don't know about, that they're making illogical arguments. Yeah. I would completely understand if they were offering cards only at Gen Con that could truly mess up the meta. They're not.
For sure.
They're not. You get a card like this where the guy's standing his hand in the air, and now the new card has the guy with his hand in his pocket. That's it. And you want to go online and blast the company and say that the company has been dropping and they're not taking care of their fans and that they're being so selfish to only going to people that are going to the largest tournament that they're having for the year.
There's a lot of cards for like
I mean, come on,
Netrunner where like you only get the alternate art if you win the tournament. Like you literally have to win a tournament to get the alternate art. So it's like,
my
goodness,
it's just alternate art.
Right,
that's
exactly.
It does
just
nothing
alternate
else.
Art.
So stupid, and all these people they're cowards. And so just shut your mouth.
So what we can take away from this is, hey guys out there in internet land, let's try to be more positive. Let's try to complain less. Let's try to have fun together and grow as a board game community instead of like getting all upset about everything all the time. Like,
I mean, seriously, they get upset about the dumbest things ever. It's like, it's
If I can play devil's advocate for a moment.
Stop being a troll, Matt.
If they are strictly giving away alternate cards that have different art on them to everyone in the tournament, I don't see why they couldn't then take that, say, hey, look, we already produced these. We'll just make more copies and then sell them. Because that's literally all these people want.
No,
they're just
so here's what they said. Here's what they said. They said possibly down the road, as of right now, this is just for Gen Con, but possibly down the road. They
Come
didn't
to Gen
say
Con
no.
next year.
They
You'll
just
get
said
an
possibly
art
down the road. And also, we're also talking about.
I mean, if you're talking
I understand that.
It's just alt art. And we're talking about a company that's just been bought out twice by 2 bigger companies.
It's just
alt art. So they clearly have the money to do it.
But they can't answer the same way that they used to. And everyone's just getting all upset about all these different things. And it doesn't just have to be Ashes. I was just using them as an example.
They have a lot of tournament kits.
That Pandemic Legacy is a better example because literally people voted 0 and they never even logged the play. That is atrocious.
That's just part of how our internet culture and society as a whole is.
And to be honest, I hate it.
Control in their lives themselves, so they come home to this echo chamber where they can be loud and they can be heard and have like an actual
not even
impact
smart,
on
Matt.
something.
They're not, but Matt,
Rob, look, okay, so intelligence by design will naturally breed itself out of our just ecosystem because typically, on average, people with lower IQs have more children than the more intelligent people.
Yep.
So natural selection dictates us back down the hill. It's not going to go up. We're going to go down. It's just going to be more of this. It's just previously we didn't have the internet. So Jim Bob and all his family of heathens and whatnot, they just yelled out into the woods and you didn't have to hear it. But now you do. But yes,
Jim Bob, don't talk to me.
There are definitely things that we need to do to try and, as a society, become better. But I feel like this is a very different conversation than from board games.
So now that we've complained about people complaining,
yeah,
let's go to the next question, which says, should reviewers, or this is from Jerome Nowak, should reviewers be more critical of games, or at least review more games they would be critical of? So should they be angrier about stuff and be more critical of them? It seems like every review I watch is positive and tells me to go get or check out the game. I can answer this a little bit from having done a few reviews. Like, majority of the time, people tend to actually review the games that they enjoy more. I mean, I know there's some reviewers that legitimately they won't put out negative reviews, and if they don't like the game, they just won't put out the review. So if you don't hear about that game, it's probably just because their game isn't that great. So they try to stay away from negative reviews, because honestly, putting together review videos and trying to do them good, or at least putting work into it, like, you have to get a little bit hyped to like make that happen. And negative reviews are always going to be harder to do, not because it's harder to tell your feelings about it, but it's like not fun to talk about something you don't like. I've done several negative reviews for games that were sent in that I had to review. And it's just like, okay, I did this game. The game's not good. Probably won't like it. I mean, maybe these are some good things that you might find, but they were like, I mean, those were like given games where obviously these games are bad. I'm sure people could be a lot more critical and more nitpicky about specific things in games, but honestly, a lot of the review is just kind of showing off the game for the most part, I think, as far as like overviews and stuff like that go. So hopefully you can glean whether you like it yourself, because liking a game or not liking a game, liking a mechanic or not liking a mechanic is very like subjective depending on the person, you know. It's really hard for me to say that you will like a game, or I'll say you should check out a game, but if I say that you should check out a game, it doesn't mean like go buy the game. It means look more into the game, because I don't look at one reviewer to form my opinion on a game. I look at it all over the place to form my opinion on the game. So hopefully, like, I'm like, hey, this game's good enough for you to go do more research on it and figure out if it's actually something you think you'd like. But should people be more negative and more critical of games? I don't know, man. If people are enjoying the games, I don't think they necessarily have to be too critical on the analysis. They should just give you their straight-up feedback. What do you guys think? I don't know.
What do you think, Matt?
I think there is another way to look at it from more of a creator's perspective. So not only is it one of those things where people who take and invest a couple of hours to make a video, or sometimes a whole day to record the stuff in the video, then edit it, then put it up, don't necessarily want to do reviews for games that they don't like. Especially if it's not a popular game. If it's a popular game, they're going to do it just because that will generate more views for them. But a lot of times, especially in this day and age, I feel like a lot of people are getting sent games, especially Kickstarter games and stuff like that. People are getting sent advanced copies and are saying, hey, man, check it out and say what you think and all this. Or companies are specifically sending people games and saying, hey, just check it out and, you know, make a video for us or whatever. And it's one of those things that if you don't like the game, you're not going to make a negative video for the game, because then they won't use it, and then they feel like they've wasted their time sending you the game. So then it's this weird catch-22 where you don't necessarily want to be too negative in your review of the game, because then you would be worried that this company isn't going to associate with you anymore and might not prospectively offer you just insider information or free stuff or whatever it is that your relationship at this time is. So you're consistently going, okay, well, I guess I got to say something nice, and then I'll try to give constructive criticism about it, but not be overly negative. But then also, to the point that we were making just a minute ago, a lot of people in this day and age aren't specifically keen on tuning into videos that are overly negative, because so much of our life and our world is negative these days. We don't really get a whole lot of positive information.
If you're too negative like all the time and you're calling out a lot of different stuff, you also get a lot more hate if you're even slightly critical on a video. Like talking about how Rob was saying a whole bunch of people online are like super negative and things like that. If you say good positive things about a game, people watch your video and it'll be fine. But if you call out things and are critical, like we were decently critical of Inish when we did our review of it. And we gave the game an overall positive rating. We thought the game was good, and we would all like to play it again, and we thought it was very enjoyable. But we got a ton of comments of people upset about the things we said negatively. And I'm like, the comments and the things you're saying don't change those little aspects, but that's just how we feel about it. If you're negative about a game at all, the people that really enjoy and love that game will attack you for being critical of that game, even if you have valid points. So... but yeah,
I don't know. Like an example of something that we did was the guys who did Bucket of Doom sent that to us long ago.
Yeah.
A long time ago, and we played it, and we were just like, meh.
Nope.
And we didn't really feel like doing anything about it because it just wasn't our sort of.
We talked about it on the podcast, so and we're just kind of like, meh.
It is what it is. So we didn't necessarily do anything for it. It was just like, okay.
And I have very specific tastes in games, which are not necessarily going to translate over to other people's tastes in games. There are games I know that people love and are ravenous about that I could care less about. So how is it for me to say this game is terrible? I don't like. Why should I dog it out when there could be valid things that people are really going to enjoy about that specific thing? I don't know. We did have we played a bunch of the Paco games that were sent in to us.
Yeah.
And we played it, and universally, like, everybody was just like, I don't want to play this anymore. And I was like, well, we can do this, and we'll do this, and try this. And, like, no. Like, let's just not. And, I mean, I know there's a ton of people out there that love those games, but it just missed completely for our group. So, and, I mean, we weren't required to do anything crazy with it. We were just supposed to, like, maybe look at it a little bit on the podcast. And so we just kind of, like, talked to the creator of it and kind of, like, we're like, hey, man, it just missed for us. Like, I know you got stuff going on, like, coming up. Like, we don't want to, like, just be trouncing your stuff or anything like that. Like, we could have gone and been super overcritical and given all the key things that we didn't like about it. But those tastes can be completely different on someone who likes more abstract stuff or someone who likes more mathy stuff than we do. It just was not what we were looking for. So, I mean, maybe other people will enjoy it more. And if you're overly critical, then other people that enjoy it won't necessarily like that. I don't know. What do you think, like Rob?
What were you going to say, Matt?
I was just going to say, the thing is, if you're overly critical, I feel like a lot of times people who are overly critical are actually trying to give constructive criticism or feedback, which by the time the person or the game or the company has given you whatever product it is, whether it already been released or like an advanced copy for a Kickstarter or something like that they just want to get like a hype video for, it's already too late to get that feedback and that sort of stuff in that development cycle because it's past there.
Right.
And so often, a lot of times, the people that I find that review games don't have the ability or the capacity to speak intelligently about their sort of ideas and what they liked about it and what they don't. Like, they don't verbalize it very well. So it ends up being one of these things where you kind of get like a very half-hearted approach, and it always seems very sort of blasé or played off, where it's just like, yep, I think this game's pretty great. It's got some stuff that all other games have got, and it's pretty good. Solid 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, Kickstarter's up on the 18th. And you're just like, okay, great. I don't like what I don't.
Definitely, if you're reviewing a game, though, you definitely have to make sure to be honest about it. Obviously, like say how you actually feel about the game and things like that. But
and like just promotional streamers for like video games, like the companies have started paying streamers on Twitch to play their game for a certain amount of time, or even on YouTube, you'll see things where people are getting this product and are trying it out and are reviewing it and stuff like that, but that is like a paid endorsement, and they specifically tell you that. Right. And then you kind of know to temper your expectations a little bit because of how that whole situation is set up. But to my knowledge, I don't know that there's anything like that in the board game industry yet, so it's one of those, everything is just in this weird flux state.
Yeah, I always try to like call out specific types of gamers I think wouldn't like a game. Like if there's a game that's like real time and quick and fast, I could be like, hey, if you don't like things that are like all in your face and where you're having to rush, or you don't like being stressed out in a game, this might not be something you're super interested in, even though I love that sort of thing. So I try to throw a little bit of stuff like that in there too. So
yeah. What were you going to say, Rob?
I think you guys made some good points. I'll just reiterate real quick. It takes a lot to do a video, and so I could definitely understand trying to do more that you'd like to put in the effort and the time, because you always want to keep your consistency and quality, and so it's hard to keep a good quality video if you don't enjoy the game. Second, I thought Innis was a fantastic example of a game that we didn't necessarily care for because we saw something that was wrong for us personally in the game, but other people seem to get up in arms, and so it's just one of those kind of like, all right, you win some, you lose some. People say that they want negative reviews, but then those same people are going to get mad at us when we say, it's not that great. So anyway, it is what it is. I'll do a negative review if I don't like the game, but I'm also like Roy and others and Matt. I want to play games that I'm going to like, and like Matt and I talked about at the very beginning of the game, at the very beginning of the show, we did not like Seafall. We wanted to like Seafall. We expected to like Seafall. We're still not shy about it. But again, you primarily hear positive things from us because I'm trying to enjoy the money that I spend on this hobby. People do not send Robert Newman games. I pay for everything that I get.
Yeah.
And so if I'm going to spend the money, I want to make sure I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Asmodee doesn't know we actually exist, so they're too busy. They got other things to fry.
And man, you got
every hype we build up.
Stuff,
like I talk about how much I love Fantasy Flight games. Bought or have been Christmas gifted every single thing that I have, or tried to trade up. Like they don't know we exist. We don't get review copies from them at all. I wish somebody, hey, Asmodee, Fantasy Flight, send us review copies. Now it's probably not going to happen. They got bigger fish to fry, but still love their games and just talk about how much I love it because it's what I'm into, you know. So good times, good times. Anyway, that was long. Here you go, Rob. Jeff Reed, what is a bad movie or TV show that you would like to be made into a good board game? Bad?
A bad movie? Or a TV show?
Just make The Room the board game. Do you guys know what The Room is?
What is a bad movie or TV show that I would like to see as a board game?
They have Brie Larson in it.
All right, can I say one that I don't think people are necessarily going to agree with me on?
Yeah.
Here comes the negative review. I thought Pacific Rim was not a good movie. I thought it was I thought it was bleh. Very predictable. First of all, at the very end in the water, he's not going to float or swim with all that armor on and all that kind of stuff. The science behind it and some of the other stuff, I just thought it was very cartoonish and very predictable. I saw everybody dying when they died, before they died, and all that stuff. But I think it'd be a really cool board game. So my vote is Pacific Rim.
Hype.
Boom.
Man, I can't think of one that would make a good board game. I didn't like Kong Skull Island for much of the same reason that Rob likes Pacific Rim. I
haven't seen it yet. It wasn't good?
I didn't like it. I felt like it was too cliche. Like, I went into it like, yeah, this is going to be like Godzilla came out a year before, just any kaiju movie, and it was just kind of like Michael Bay with a gorilla, and I was like,
Yeah, but doesn't Samuel Jackson die?
Yeah, but
I love all. Like, I thought, what was that shark movie that he was in? That movie was dumb, but he's giving that amazing speech about the avalanche. He's giving that awesome speech. We're gonna survive. We're gonna make it. Rah! And he just gets eaten. I just loved it. For that reason, I think I bought that movie because I was just like, and I like Samuel Jackson. It's not like I wanted to see him die, but like he goes out epically. So
nice.
Was that Deep Blue Sea? Did it also have LL Cool J?
Yes.
Yeah, and he made it to the end, and everybody was like, "Yeah, black guy didn't die. He made it."
Yeah, but he still got shot though. He got shot in the leg, and he was the chef. I love how the chef makes it, and he killed like 2 of the sharks.
Man, I thought that was a pretty decent movie for what it was.
Next question. Craig says, what age did you get your children to start playing games with you, and what games did you start with? For me, I started playing games with Scotty when he was like 2. And my daughter like started playing right around the same time when she was still only like 1, and we played a bunch of Go Away Monster. That game can be played with kids very young if you like help them out, just hold the bag for them and let them grab stuff out of it. We've talked about it a ton on the show, but it's a great little kids game where you're basically it's a cooperative game where I don't know if you can really call it a game. It's more of an activity, but it teaches taking turns and kind of like placing different things on a board. And it's a lot of fun because you're pulling things out, trying to get like a bed or a lamppost or a teddy bear and try to complete your room. And then when you pull monsters out of the bag, because there's also monsters in this bag, you have to yell, "Go away, monster," and throw the monster in the box. And it's a lot of fun for the kids. It teaches them how to take turns and be a little bit more dexterous with putting their hands in the bag and trying to grab just one piece and stuff like that. So, awesome game, Go Away Monster. What about you, Rob? What was the first game you started playing?
I think it was Go Away Monster for us as well. I think we started playing around 2 or 3 shortly after we moved to North Carolina. But what's really blowing my mind is my daughter starts school tomorrow, and I'm like actually really struggling with it. Like I may be the dad who's crying. Like, I don't know.
Oh.
We'll see. I don't know, bro. It's like Monday we had our school orientation, and it just hit me like,
my baby's growing up.
Well, like I was just in high school, but I wasn't just in high school. But I feel like I was just in high school, and now my daughter's starting school. It's just like, man, time is flying.
That's crazy.
Buy all the games. You're going to die soon anyway.
What about you, Matt? What about your kids?
Roy, you're such a jerk.
I mean, see, Jeffrey's really in the mud right now.
My name is Jeff.
So, I don't know. Yeah.
So, Matt, what game do you like to play with your significant others? Was that the question?
Did I do that to him too?
You were just
Yeah, it was like, what game do you play with your significant others / wives? And you guys were like, yeah. And I was like, oh.
I am alone.
I just play.
That was so good.
Take that.
So awkward. So awesome.
So we've got these next 2 questions are here, sort of in the same vein. Daniel asks, what is Roy's go-to hair care products? And then Brandon from the Brawling Brothers podcast
hair care questions.
asks, how much goop do you put in your hair to make it stand up so well? And he says he puts a whole bunch in his hair and it doesn't stand up nearly as tall. I use Got to Be Glued hair glue, and I've used it for like 10 plus years. And I'm pretty sure my hair's just trained to stand up anyway. But yeah. And I don't put a lot in there because like one bottle of that stuff lasts me like an entire year. But if you want to use Got to Be Glued, it can make you have mohawks and like spiky hair and stuff. Good times. I don't know. Weird question. And if you're a listener, I'm actually bald, so don't worry about it.
He's not bald.
Michael asks, what do you think of Euros? Simple question.
They're not all bad, and they're not all great. Next question.
I think a lot of the negativity that this podcast puts on Euros is strictly because they feel so very dry. They don't.
Yeah.
They very often don't have a lot of theme wrapped around it, other than, oh, this board is painted like a field, and you are a farmer, and you're like, okay,
I get
cool,
bored.
got it. Yeah.
My
it's
thing...
typically it's very dry on theme, and a lot of times there is very little to any player interaction, so you don't care about what anyone else is doing.
Yep.
Unless you are actually trying to win. And I mean, for me, I don't think I ever go into a game trying to win. I go into a game to have fun and relax. I feel that trying to win is way too stressful and is not something that I want to do in my leisure time.
It's
so
even worse in Euros then.
Right. But there are games that have like interesting mechanics. Like, so for me, Great Western Trail, while it is a Euro and it is like one of those things where you're like, man, yeah, let's check it out. Try to win. There's like so much stuff going on in that game. I'm just like, oh, dude, that's neat. Look at that over there. That's cool. All right, what is this person doing? Oh, that's crazy. And then the whole time I'm sitting there going, I got to get more of these Highland cows because they're soft and fluffy. Yeah.
I normally do pretty good when I play Euro games for the first time. I mean, I wouldn't get first against someone who's played it before, but I normally can figure out the mechanics pretty well and kind of get a good strategy going. So I end up with an okay score majority of the time. I do okay my first time. I can see the mechanics, see how things work, and like try to figure out how to get the score. But for me, the end of the day, with majority of these games, the only thing you can say is this person won, this person lost, this was my score, and you did some mechanics and pushed some things around on the board. But at the end of the day, there's no like epic story or epic narrative or things that you did together or things that this person did to that person, because you can't really interact all that much. And they're forgettable. And even though I normally do pretty good at them, I get kind of bored with them while playing them at the same time. So, I don't think Euros are terrible. There's a ton of people who love them, and I think they're great games and they're designed by great people. But for me personally, I would rather play something that I can remember and be excited about later on, because I don't know. And I also kind of like how randomness sometimes levels that playing field a little bit. Like, I feel like 2 in Euros, like, if you know the game better than anyone else, you will win the game.
Is there...
You should win the game.
Yeah, definitely. Is there a game that can be described as a cooperative Euro?
I know there's... I know, like, Orleans has, like, some cooperative elements, and I'm kind of, like, interested in that. But even with that, like, do you really want to cooperatively push cubes together? Like, I don't know.
Well, I think it's more like looking at it in terms of like how First Martians is a game where you're cooperatively trying to solve problems and conquer objectives, but scaled back a bit to where it's more like, I need you to do this, which is generate this so that we can do this, and this person's over here doing that so that we can try to collaboratively come together and do something. That might not necessarily fit the Euro genre anymore, but I feel like that's basically what it is on sort of like a very deconstructed level.
Yeah. And I totally have lots of respect for people who love Euro games. I mean, you can
They're not bad.
You can
just
send,
not my thing.
You can send hate mail, but I mean, I feel like, I don't know, there are so many people out there that are all about it. And I mean, more power to them. And what I desire for you is to have these awesome cube pushers, but I would also like for them to work on the art and make them look great for you guys as well. So you don't have to look at brown boards all the time.
So
Awesome.
what's the next question?
Next question. Levi, what is one thing you wish you knew when you started the hobby?
I wish I had a better savings account.
Yeah.
Because games are only going to get more expensive.
Yeah.
Like
Well, I mean,
there are
Yeah.
still games that come out that are in the $15 to $25 range that are pretty decent, but typically they're party games or hobby games or stuff like that, and they're fun, but you typically don't. You probably might play them more, but it's not a game that you want to play as much. The games that I find most people typically want to play are $60 and up.
I'll say this though, like I've enjoyed not knowing a lot, especially when I came in, because I like this surprise. So I wouldn't want to change that. I would just want to have more money to try out more. Like it was fun getting blown away by like Game of Thrones and Battlestar Galactica, and like I remember the first time I played Battlestar Galactica, literally just giggling, because trying not to laugh, but just giggling at my friend Kenneth O'Malley. I was like, dude, the whole time, you're Cylon. Like, I swear, I know you're Cylon. And just laughing. I could not hold it in. And I absolutely love that. I wouldn't want to change that or know anything about that. Or Game of Thrones and all the backstabbing and Mansions of Madness, like, blew my mind. Like, there was a game where the board grows as you move. Like, this is ridiculous. So it's like... Yeah. I'd keep it all the same. I'd just make sure I had more money.
So back when you started the hobby a couple of years ago, invest in Apple?
No. If I could go back when I started, I'd invest in Twitter on the day that it opened, because I was actually thinking about this the other day. When it opened, bro, it went up to like $55 a share, and then like the last hour it dropped to like 48. But when it opened, it was like pennies per stock or something like that. Imagine you buy like 10,000 shares, so it's like $1,000 or $100 or whatever, and you end up with like 500 grand. I wish I knew stuff like that, or I wish I knew the lotto numbers for when that one lady won $1 billion, 998 million.
Bitcoin's where it's at, though.
Yeah.
That just consistent upward trend where you're like, hey, I have 2 Bitcoins, and then now you're like, I've got a couple $1 million on a hard drive I threw away years ago.
And honestly, if you are just starting out in the hobby, I don't know 100% what I would want to do, but just try to have fun with games. Like, I mean, there's a lot of games. Play them all,
see what you like.
There's a lot of games that people dog on because maybe they've played them too much or they've moved past them, but you can have fun with whatever game you're playing if you just have the right group and you just want to have fun with it, you know? I don't know. There's a lot of great games out there.
There was a guy in chat who said he was on his 8th playthrough of Seafall. There's a game. Everybody's going to like something.
Yeah.
I mean, good for you, man. Just play them all and find out what you like and don't like.
Yeah. And I mean, if you want to, you can do research into how other people think about the games to try to like keep yourself from running into too many games that might not fit your taste and try to figure out what that is. But just have fun, you know. It's all about fun. Crystal from Board Game Blitz says, how soon, if ever, do you think the board gaming will become a mainstream hobby, as in everybody knows about it, even if they don't participate?
I think we're already there.
Really? You think modern board gaming?
Whether you like to admit it or not, Risk and Monopoly and Life and those other games.
Yeah, but how many people do you think
doesn't matter.
Think of
There's still
how many
gaming
people
as
do you
a
think get together and
hobby?
play Cards Against Humanity?
People know about the game, because her question said know about it. They may not play it, but know about it. It's a
mainstream hobby. I know there's people that know that board games exist, but do they think that people actually, like, their hobby is board gaming? Like,
no,
hey, board gaming is what I do.
You're right. The answer is 0. It's none. Nobody knows. We're all going to die.
I didn't say that. I just don't think it's already here. I think it's rising. I think it's definitely, like, going, like, huge, because board games are, like, popping up all over the place and everywhere. Like, it's on... I mean, South Park had Mice and Mystics and Dead of Winter. Like, it's all over the place. Board games everywhere.
And Zombicide.
Yeah, and different celebrities are starting to like tweet about different board games they're playing and stuff, and being super excited. So I mean, it's definitely spreading. But when I like go to work in a factory and I try to describe playing board games to people, it just does not translate.
Really?
Literally.
Really?
So
because you were getting your car fixed, and that mechanic kind of blew your mind on how much he knew about board games, and you were like, "Oh my gosh,
yeah,
I just expected you to fix my car."
That is huge. That is awesome. But
so that kind of contradicts what you just said, though.
Yeah, but it's not everybody.
Yeah, we're so salty tonight.
I'm not being salty. I'm just.
I actually kind of agree with Rob, and the reason I think that is there's a large number of people who play games like Cards Against Humanity and all of those sort of adult-centered card games that we don't talk about. I thoroughly I really enjoy the games. They're goofy. They're great for a late night drunken thing. But I know people who literally will have parties and play those types of games. Yeah. And then that's the thing. And people will go over to that house and they're just like, "Hey man, when are we doing game night again?" And that's game night to them.
And even if they don't play, they know about it.
Yeah. And they're not busting out Ti4. They're not, if we said, "Hey man, have you tried Alien Frontiers?" They're not going to be like, "Well, huh?"
Yeah.
So play Panamax.
It's one of those things where it's the specific type of games that we tend to look at. Probably not, but games in general, yes.
Yeah, and I mean Target's starting to get a huge collection of games too, like everywhere from the Cards Against Humanity with all the bajillions of expansions to all the modern game. Like they have the brand new Sonar version of Captain Sonar out, and like it's not even anywhere else yet. So it's pretty crazy. Like there's big games all over the place. So I agree that it's growing. I just think there's always more we can do. Spread the word. Tell people about board games. I don't know. Awesome. How do I say this name?
I don't know. It did not turn up right for me.
Cromuzz, CROMUSZ. Is Gen Con too big? ?
No. It depends on what you're going for.
Yeah. If you're going to
I will
play games,
answer
you probably shouldn't go to Gen Con.
I think he's hitting on an issue that I've noticed is all of the cons seem to be in a 2-month span of time.
Yeah.
So if you want to go to a con, you can't go to all the cons, so you have to pick and choose what you want to do. And then they're all over the place in different countries and different states, and just so you're consistently like, man, do I want to go to Gen Con, or do I want to go to Dice Tower, or do I want to go to BGG, or like what do I want to do?
That is an issue. They are really like close to each other,
and so it's becoming really big. And so I guess his point might be that maybe Gen Con is so big it's sort of overshadowing a lot of these other cons, but at the same point we're still growing as a hobby, so all the other cons are still picking up steam as well. But
I think they're growing across the board, like all the different conventions. So.
Yeah. I don't know. We got PAX Unplugged, which is November, I think.
In
Philly? It's going to be like huge. First PAX Unplugged ever, but it's going to be gigantic. Like they're having like all the exhibitors there. Like they're having just tons and tons of stuff. So.
It's definitely.
I love Ambi right there. She's going to all 3 of those. Well, Ambi, you don't have children.
I feel like if you're not like sort of involved in the industry a little bit, I don't see why you would even need to go to multiples, I mean, it'd be fun and stuff, but
it's the same reason people go to Comic-Cons. They go there to enjoy and relish in that sort of thing that they get behind, whether it be comics, anime, or like whatever their particular thing is for comic book conventions. So there's hundreds of those.
Adam said Epic Gaming Night Con. I did have a convention at my house called RoyCon. My wife, when my son was like 1.5, went to Disney. And while she was at Disney, I had a 3-day gaming event at my house where people could just stay at my house. And literally there was like gaming like 24 hours. Like we played so many games. I had like a whole spreadsheet of like different ways you could gain points off of playing games to encourage people to play more games. It was stupid. We cooked like probably like 8 packs of bacon in the house, so the whole house just smelled like bacon. It was intense, and my house smelled like bacon for like a month. But yeah, and then all my friends are like, when are you having Roy-Con again? When are we doing this? Let's do it. Let's have Roy-Con. And I'm just like, I mean, unless you're going to pay for my wife to go to Disney, I don't know when I'm going to do something crazy like that again. But, you know, I don't know. Gen Con might be too crowded, but we'll see. I'm going to go. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be like a mosh pit. Yeah!
Gen Con's great. Go if you want to buy stuff. Don't go to play.
Yeah, it's so hard to find a place to sit.
If you want to go games, because you enjoy Indianapolis. I feel like that's one of the reasons that I go to cons is because it's like, oh, this.
But if you really want to enjoy Indianapolis, you should probably go a different time when all the restaurants aren't just slap full of people.
No, all you have to do is go to a restaurant that's a little bit more than 5 blocks away.
I guess you're right.
Go. There's literally no one
pizza place. We never had to wait more than 5 or 10 minutes for a seat.
Absolutely not. That's awesome. The thing is, if you go any place and they have a special Gen Con menu, leave immediately. If they have like nerdy themed appetizers that are basically the mozzarella sticks that were there before, but now it's just like, aha, the magic missile. Get out, because it's $2 more than it originally was.
Yes.
Because they go, check out these nerdy guys. They gonna spend all the money.
Okay,
dude. Now I really want some magic missile mozzarella sticks.
So go.
They got me.
Away. Go farther away to where stuff isn't like very panderish, and the food's good, and there's nobody there because all the convention people just don't feel like walking.
Go.
There's Uber now. There's literally no excuse. Pay somebody $5 to take you to the other side of town and go get a good burger.
Nice,
bro. I want to go to St. Elmo's right now and get another one of those shrimp cocktails.
Everybody keeps talking about those. I've heard them talk about it on like 3 different podcasts now.
Oh my goodness! Like
I kind of want to go back for steak.
The steak was good. I've had good steak here though, or just as good. But that shrimp cocktail sauce, do you remember when we took our first bites? Oh man, that horseradish just like ripped through my face, not my nose, my face. He was like, "Sir, you may want to take a small bite." Loaded that thing up, and then seconds later, I yelled at Tom Vassell. I was like, "Hey man, is that your daughter?"
As you're crying.
Cool. I just love all the stuff you do.
My face is on fire. This isn't awkward. Looks like you ate well.
I hope someday, like, he just remembers that and, like, says,
nope.
hey, remember that time you yelled at me at that restaurant?
Yeah, to be fair, it was really dark. So unless Rob tells him or unless Tom Vassell happens to listen to our podcast, he's never
Which he doesn't.
Know.
He doesn't. Trust me, he doesn't. Ah, awesome.
You need to text Matt. Matt, you need to text Trevor where that pizza place is or the name of that pizza place.
Oh, yeah, we'll do. I think it's the...
Well, speaking of Gen Con, I'm going to be going to Gen Con, sadly. Matt and Rob
are we wrapping up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Make sure to hit me up at the Dice Tower booth. I will be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 2 p.m. And I'll have some Epic Gaming Night dice and buttons to give away to people that say, hey, I listened to the podcast. Like, I'm not going to be, like, just giving them to anybody. It's going to have to be the cool people that know what's up. Anyway, make sure to hit me up at the Dice Tower booth. And I'm really sad that you guys aren't coming this year.
So
I'm also going to miss Pleshik. It's going to be sad. We need
so
our crew,
here's
man.
the thing.
And Hector.
Here's the thing. Listen to this.
Yes.
You've met my friend Lee.
Yes.
Right?
Is Lee coming?
Lee texted me last week. He was like, hey, man, I know I didn't tell you this, but about 3 months ago, I bought a Thursday and Friday ticket. I'm just going to drive up there, and I'm just going to go to the con. I'm like, what?
He's not
I was
going.
Like, this
He's
got to be a
bail.
joke. Because we constantly joke all the time. And he's like, no, man, for real. I'm really going. Do you want me to pick you up any games? I said, shut up, Lee. If you're really going, I'm going to be so pissed. I've asked you for years to go. You went the first year, and then all my friends thought you were an imaginary friend until they finally met you at CMON. Like, what's going on? And so, yeah, he's going. He's going. He's going to be there. He's actually leaving tomorrow. And he'll be there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Here's the thing, though, Roy. I told him that you're working at the Dice Tower booth. He is a good friend. Unlike you, he's going to try to pick up a couple games for me. And so he may drop them off with you at the booth if you're okay with that.
That should be fine as long as he comes by at 2 or whatever when I have it.
Yeah, I'm going to tell him to come by around 2 o'clock. But there are a couple games, like I don't believe.
And I picked you up a game last year. You didn't actually ask me to pick you up anything.
Well, because you were like, I can't, man. I just don't know, man. I can't. I can't get in there. I can't do it. And
this year's gonna be a lot easier because I'm not gonna be stuck at I'm literally only gonna be there at 2.
No, I just think you were intimidated. You didn't know last year, and then once you found out you could, you were like, oh, because once you found out you could, you were like, oh, I can. But before that, you're like, no, man, I can't.
I just like to follow the rules.
So, anyway, I wish I could go, but now my buddy Lee is going, and I think it's hilarious, but I think it's evil at the same time. You guys are going to have a blast. I wish I could be there. I love the crowds and the energy and the people, and I would love to see all the new stuff as it comes out. It's going to be crazy packed, but still.
If you have a baby, like, you need to let us know, man.
Bro, yeah, like, in all seriousness, I am not going to be on next week's show.
Yeah. Because Tuesday's the day, right?
Yeah. Yes. In less than a week, the baby.
I thought we were just going to live stream that.
Nope. Nope.
This is going to be weird because I'm also going to be out of town next Tuesday.
Nice. So I need to get a special guest.
Or just Roy's recap of Gen Con.
Or just live stream.
It's so boring listening to one person talk.
Well, isn't that most of our shows? It's just like you for a while, then me for a while, and every once in a while Matt's like, yeah.
Yeah, but people come for the yes.
They do come
for
the yes.
They notice when the yes are missing. They specifically request them.
They're like, man, this awkward silence filler isn't here anymore. Oh, no.
Like, I will say that, Matt, I have so many people, like, when they come up and say hi and stuff, they always talk about your beard, and there was like, where's Matt? I need to hear my yeah. I mean,
everybody, every single time.
Where's Matt? I'm like, you're asking to take a picture with me. Why don't you talk about how handsome I am? No, where's Matt?
I hide.
They just walk by Matt and then walk up to me and Rob and ask where Matt is.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how it works.
I look like every Gen Con attendee ever. They're just like, he blended in. I don't know. I didn't find him.
Nice. Awesome.
Hey, you guys heard it now, though. Roy's going to need a co-host next Tuesday, so just message him if you want to co-host.
It'll be you, Tim, and Adam talking about the Chlamydia or Not games, because Tim's going to be like, guys, Blood Rage.
Tim's never allowed.
Roy, I like Tim, but don't let Tim be a co-host.
Me and Rob are saying the same thing.
You will not get anything done. You won't. You'll have to kick him. You'll have to ban him.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time.
And then you'll understand why Board Game Geek banned him.
Awesome. Well, we do want to say thanks so much to our amazing patrons. We are currently doing our game of the week. We had a poll for which game they wanted, and Century is the game that won, but there were several different Centuries added, so we're now doing a poll for whether Century Spice Road or Century Crystal Golem. It is currently a landslide for Crystal Golem.
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't it be? But yeah, I think some people are like,
I want Crystal Golem. It's the same game, but I want it.
Exactly. There's several people that are like, I got Spice Road, make Crystal Golem happen. There was actually a guy that said he has Crystal Golem coming, so he wants Spice Road. I don't know. But anyway, so make sure to check out our Patreon, and thank you so much for all those guys and girls over there supporting us. Y'all are amazing. But yeah, check it out at patreon.com/Epic Gaming Night. We're going to be having our patron hangout where we just talk to our different patrons and stuff like that. We're going to review Century, and we're also going to just give away that copy of the game to one of our amazing patrons. So thanks so much. Everybody's the best. Make sure to hit us up on YouTube. We stream these live Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. at youtube.com/Epic Gaming Night. Also, make sure to hit us up on Twitter and Instagram. We're always posting things over there. And hopefully I'll see you guys at Gen Con. So, yeah.
You guys are amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, peace. Cool. We had all kinds of people in chat tonight.
Yeah, we had a good chat. It was great.
Yeah. Man, I really wish I could type in this. Like, I need to just start using my other computer because it just freezes if I try to go.
So I have a question. Is your Skype how mine is presently, where it's just like the whole Skype window is taken up by people's faces?
No, not the whole. Well, what size do you have it? I have mine full screen. Well, not full screen.
Let me see what happens if I full screen it. No, if I full screen it, you guys take up like literally my entire monitor.
Nope, mine's not like that.
Okay, cool. Because it does that thing, like I've noticed if I go back and look at the videos, like I've always been like, man, my face is a bit more zoomed in than how my camera presents it. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. Well, it's because we have those hexagons, so
yeah.
I have to make it fit in that hexagon, so it makes it a little bit bigger.
Makes sense. Okay.
So.
But basically, in these windows, you guys are blown up like that in the windows, and I don't see, like, I literally don't even see where Rob's shoulder's in. Like, that's how, like, close it is. It's, like, really weird.
I'm ordering Crystal Golem right now.
I was going to until I saw that it was, like, $50.
No, if you order it from their website, $40, $39.99.
Yeah, but then you get to shipping.
Shipping's only $2 right now.
Really? Damn.
My total right now is $41.
Hype.
Well, hold on. I'm at
everybody
tax.
in chat.
Tax
you guys
says,
are awesome.
I'm not all the way through yet.
We'll see you guys next time. If you're going to be at Gen Con, make sure to say hi. I'm going to be hanging out with Ambi and them anyway. You guys are awesome. See ya. Peace.
Yeah. Adios.